Howie of the Backstreet Boys avec nous en studio. We were talking about Caroline and, you know, how important, you know, her life lessons were to you. And then we went to bigger. And bigger for me means Howie embarking on his own solo life, not just a solo career. But you meet Lee, who has become your wife and the mother of your son. You knew her for quite a while before you decided this was the right girl.
I did.
What took you so long? What were you checking out about Lee? Tell me a little bit, because she was the webmaster for the new for Backstreet Boys, and she, you know, was working with you every day. So what was it that you were trying to figure out?
You know, it's really crazy. We've been together now a little over 10 years.
Imagine that.
And we got married about for like 7 years, almost between 6 and 7 years. But that time between there of getting to know her seemed like we both look back on it and we're like, people do ask us like, why did, you know, why was it 6 years before we proposed and everything? But that flew by so fast, honestly. I had some of the greatest moments of my life, you know, embarking in a relationship with somebody and experiencing a different chapter in my life, you know. Being able to create memories with somebody that I knew was going to be down the line, somebody I'm going to have, you know, cherish those memories for many years to come. Like you said, we got to know each other. She used to work with us on the website.
Let me ask you a question, though. Were you a player before Lee?
Was I a player before Lee?
Because you were very discreet, but were you? I mean,
I was a little Latin lover.
You were a little Latin lover. Did you get your heart broken a lot, though? Or were you the heartbreaker?
Believe it or not, I did.
You
I think in the earlier days when I was starting, you know, actually before Backstreet Boys, and you know, I didn't come out of my shell yet until I really became a Backstreet Boy. But before that, I was, you know, I was a bit more of a shyer kid, you know, and even though, believe it or not, I was in choir and stuff like that, and drama, and in high school, I was voted most talented of my high school and stuff like that. But it wasn't until probably my senior year when I first started like doing like shows and stuff like that, and even my choir department, they would have like kids coming in from 8th grade orientation into high school, and they would get me to represent like the vocal department and stuff like that, and I would sing Unchained Melody, and little by little I started noticing like all these like little girls kind of screaming.
How powerful.
And but before that, believe it or not, I was a bit more shy of a kid. I used to get rejected.
But after becoming part of the Backstreet Boys, did you fear that girls were attracted to you because you were Howie from the Backstreet Boys and were less interested in Howie the person? Did you go through those things?
I loved it at first. I let them have
the hell with it, But what was different about Lee?
Well, that was the one thing, honestly, that, you know, in regards to relationship, I was a bit more reserved about that. You know, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to be with somebody, it was somebody that really loved me for myself, not just for who I was as an entertainer. And believe it or not, when I met Lee, she wasn't a Backstreet Boys fan. She definitely heard of us. She definitely heard of us, but she was more into like Dave Matthews. More of like a little bit more, you know, kind of like a
little grungier, a little
grunge
dirtier,
music, you know? And she actually was one of the first people that opened my mind to listening to some that type of music that I hadn't listened to, like Ben Harper and Dave Matthews. And at the same time, I influenced her on the pop side. And it was really great, you know. Some of those when we worked together. Like I said, we were pioneering, our management company, we pioneered this VIP website where fans could come on there and they could actually see stuff of us doing excursions and whatever. Well, my guys, most of the guys at the time, they were so tired after the shows, they would just go back to the hotel rooms and just sleep and play video games and order room service. I was the one that was the most adventurous. I would always go out like hang gliding in Rio, go to the pyramids in Mexico.
So you got to know her even better.
So the website pretty much was a lot of Howie D, believe it or not.
Did you guys, though, get involved with each other's choices and with women? I mean, did you ever say to somebody, you know, you shouldn't be going out with this one, she's just not good for you? Or how did that work?
I think we definitely had influence on each other. You know, and by saying, hey, you know, if there was someone that we felt like was just totally wrong, I think we were close enough to be able to tell each other, I don't know about this person. But at the same time, we also gave each other the space to make their own choices, you know, because, you know, for me, who am I to tell somebody where they're going to find their love? And, you know, Brian found his love in one of the video shoots.
Absolutely,
you know, and AJ and Nick are on their own path right now. And
did your mother say something when she met Lee? Did your mom know that she was the right one?
My mother, honestly, believe it or not, is very, very protective over me and women.
And I don't blame her. I get it.
It's somebody kind of filling in a little bit of her shoes. And I'll definitely say that I was a mama's boy. You know, she was my woman of my life. And so for me to find somebody that was gonna take away and possibly in mothers' minds that special bond. was, you know, she was very
It was hard.
reserved at first,
Yeah.
you know, and I think it took time for me to bring Lee around, for people to get to know Lee the way I knew Lee.
Exactly.
And I wanted her to have that. I didn't want to force my mother, anybody into her life.
But you followed your own instinct, and I imagine that it must have been very important also because your dad was alive to see you marry.
My dad was alive to see me marry Lee, and believe it or not, my dad was Lee's biggest fan out of all my family.
Really?
And it was
Why
really tough.
do you think so?
My dad was a very free-spirited person, like my sister Caroline, believe it or not. I think that's where she got it from. And Lee, for me, was my free-spirited person in my life that helped me to be able to adventure life and just live for the moment, take vacations, and take some time for myself. And my dad was that same kind of person in my family, and he really had a special bond with Lee. And when he passed away, I remember Lee like really crying and feeling emotional, like that was her buddy.
That was her real buddy.
But it was so special that, you know, he was there for my wedding. We were originally going to get married a year later.
Exactly.
And we pushed the wedding earlier because the church that I wanted to get married in was going to get renovated. And it was such a coincidence how fate once again comes in destiny. It has to come in place, because after we got married, 3 months later my dad passed away.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Or actually 3 months later he had cancer. And then he had 3 months later after that. So he would have probably, I think actually he passed away like 2 weeks after we were supposed to get married.
Isn't that
so I don't know if he
something?
would have even been able to been there for the wedding.
See how destiny, you talked about that before, and destiny also, you know, made you want to spread your wings and manage people and do all kinds of great things. And
very much so.
So we have a little message for you that I think you should take a peek at right now.
Oh, okay.
Hey everyone, we're Neverest. I'm Spee.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brendan. And I'm Paul.
And we're very, very happy to be on the show. Thank you very much for having us. Sonia, sorry we can't be there in person to see you and give you a hug. You make us feel so welcome every time we come to Montreal. Thank you very much. We love you. Howie, we love you too, man. How you doing? Thank you for taking us under your wing and being such a great manager, and, you know, being such a great mentor and guiding us and showing us the ropes and leading by example. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, likewise. We all want to thank you, Howie. We're working on our dance moves so we can one day be as good as you, and we're so excited to see where you can take us in 17 years as you have with Backstreet. So,
And Sonia, we miss you every time we're not in Montreal. Every single time.
I miss you the most, though. Me, I do.
These boys, I don't even
Polly.
care how you feel. I love these boys. But it's amazing because, you know, that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to share your talent, your opportunities with somebody else. And Neverest was the band. Canada and you have something going on.
Yeah,
lots
you know,
of
it's
Canadians.
Lots of love.
Yeah.
You know, it was me and a good friend of mine, CJ, who used to be like, another fellow Canadian.
Yeah.
Used to be in a group called 3 Deep many years ago. We started a management company about 5 years ago. Our first artist was a gentleman named George.
Absolutely.
Who's did really well here in Canada. And Neverest is our second project that's coming out.
And it's amazing.
It's been blessed. I mean, there's something in the water here I feel a connection with.
We hope you keep drinking it, because we're going to talk about your solo album coming back right after this commercial break. Mesdames et messieurs, on va regarder maintenant la nouvelle chanson extrait de son album qui porte le titre tout simplement 100. 100% We Love Him. Howie dit que voici.
I need you 100%.